Hey there, Shopping Maniacs. You're listening to another episode of the Shop Talk Show. I'm Dave, pointing my face in another direction. Rupert with me is Chris Coyer. Hey, Chris,
My
how
gosh,
you doing?
I feel like we could talk an hour about this.
We're
You
fixing to
can't
be a
look.
gear cast, dude. We are switching
Yeah.
gear. It's now the gear cast, gear talk show. Okay.
Yeah, gear
yeah.
talk. Just for a minute anyway, because so this podcast is going to go to YouTube probably. It's not our primary thing, but you know, more and more you hear people prefer YouTube or whatever. It's obviously a massive platform. We're never going to not have audio. I'm committed to audio, obviously. I'm sure it's 90 plus or more percent of our listenership anyway, but it's getting easier and easier to publish to YouTube, and I think it's fun anyway. Gosh darn it. Okay, that being said, this is going to go there, but I've been doing other video stuff. I do some CodePen video stuff. I've been doing streaming lately, all this video. Dave has a nice audio video setup too. It's right now in the world of technology, cameras are not like built into the center of our monitors. So for the most part, we're not looking at the camera when we're on video. And it's a little weird. I think really good video like this, like if you're shooting a TV show or something, the host is looking at the camera. At least they have it as an option. I can do it right now. Now I'm looking at the camera. I could do that, but I think it's very awkward to talk for an hour in a room by myself staring at my camera lens. Yeah. I'm not going to do it, especially when we're talking about computers and our computer is in front of our face with our screen with all the interesting stuff on it is right in front of our face. So we're looking at our screens. Thus, all this video is us looking at an angle. I don't know how much people care. I think a little bit. I think the show would be more engaging if we were staring at our camera the whole time.
But looking at the in the eyeballs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless technology puts a camera behind my screen, which I wouldn't rule out. But it's just not. It hasn't happened yet. So we have to make decisions. Dave, you just changed yours up. You're now looking to the inline start block end of the screen, or the bottom left, as we would call it traditionally. I'm also, I think, like, or am I looking when I look at my screen to the bottom left too, right?
Bottom left, yeah. So we're both angled down. Bottom left. It's good perspective.
And then when you're screen sharing, it's interesting because then it matters where you put the floating head, because if you put the floating head also in the bottom left, it appears that my eyeballs are just looking out into space, into the bottom left.
Yeah,
it feels better.
Looking to the left and typing, and like the thing I'm talking about is to the right, or you know,
it feels wrong.
It's wrong. It's like, oh,
it is wrong. It's not only wrong, as I'll tell you, I did a video for Front End Masters recently, just a little one-offer. And that was their feedback. It was like kind of too late to do anything about it, but it was like, for our next videos, make sure that you don't do that. So it's not just like, oh, it feels a little weird. It's like straight up like professional feedback.
Requirements.
The angle of your eyeballs needs to like be sort of looking at, or fake looking at, where the actual screen and the action is happening. So because we're looking to the bottom left, we would put our floating heads at the upper right if you could. And that's not the only layout in the world. You can split the layout 50-50, but even if you do that, you should be looking at the screen, or fake looking at the screen. So anyway, that's a little gear talk. Interesting stuff.
I went on a deep dive. So it was bothering me, like in our YouTubes and thumbnails, and even actually probably more the shorts, which like we get from free from Riverside. I can't stress enough how little effort we're putting into this. Actually, Chris Enns is actually the mastermind. He's doing great work. It's fun. He's making it all happen. But so we're even putting in lesser work. But
I don't want to speak for Chris, but it would probably be too much to handcraft each one of those. I'm sure he does some editing, but Riverside does do like some work in clipping out these sections, then they can be lightly polished and published.
And they even have apa and things like that. And
crucially put the little words that highlight which word you're saying.
And what was bothering me was the look of the camera. And here I can replicate it because I put a light in, but like it's going to take a minute to readjust, but like I just look like gray. I'm wearing gray and I have a gray beard, and but like I just like look gray, and my camera and the encoding,
there it goes.
Oh yeah, so it's trying to brighten up, right? It's trying to
Yeah.
lift the spirit,
But
but
there it goes down
oh
again.
yeah, and that might be the sun outside. But anyway, it was like I was like grayed out, and I didn't like that, like because it
Right.
starts looking compressed, and you look like phenomenal. You got lights in the background, you got like bokeh, you got
I
like
tell you what, though, I'm
you know.
doing very, very little.
Well, so
It's, I also
I
have like
I
a
just took
$4,000
a little
camera.
lamp I have. Yeah, well that's
Yeah.
so the camera's the whole other side of the coin. So the so I just like pointed a lamp at my white wall and trying to get a little bounce. I might go all the way and get like a Elgato key light, or there's all even better ones, but I kind of like sort of want to live in the Elgato system just from a Stream Deck perspective. But I don't want to go overkill because it's like, dude, I just most of the time I'm just on calls. I only do this once a week, right? But I
Right.
also value. I'm like, could we for $200? Oh, you're adjusting yours, but like for $200, could I enhance the quality of our video podcast? That's very interesting to me. And then the camera's the
I know.
whole
I
other
like how
deal,
this is a
right?
Dave thing. Is the like, what's the biggest bang for the littlest buck? Because of course you can improve your system for $10,000. We
Yeah.
all knew that. Although even that is questionable because usually the more money, the steeper the learning curve, and you can
Mm-hmm.
screw it up. But anyway. I do find that fascinating. I'll always associate that with you, Dave. It's not about being cheap. It's about,
Dave's friggin' cheap. I
it's
just
not though.
blogged
It's
about
about,
it too, dude. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, it's just about finding things that are like, I think they're often overlooked. Very small things you can do for big impact.
Well, and my whole like I've been going down like a camera YouTube studio thing. Like I have my bookshelf now. My camera's pointing towards my bookshelf, right? And so you can see my Gundams. Those are fun. I got a
Yeah.
bunch of comic books. I got a weird glass skull right here. That's cool. But my bookshelf's too busy, and so I'd have to like to be YouTube friendly or whatever, I'd actually have to pare this down. And I don't know if
Probably.
I
Yeah.
like that. I kind of hate that because that's sort of like now I live in a museum, or I'm a prop, or like
Sure.
I have to think about the shit I put on my bookshelf, and I don't want to do that. But every call I hop into, man, oh, what do you got back there, Dave? And that's like, I just want to get me out of this
Yeah. Maybe
conversation.
you could, a
So
little bokeh would go a long way
yeah, a
there.
little bit of like Apple magic here. Let's see. Oh,
Well, you can
it's
do
not
it
letting me do
digitally,
it.
but the nicer the camera you got, there should be a little bit of natural available to it.
Yeah, I think I can do that through my Sony ZV-1, which is like
Probably.
in the world of Sony's, this is getting old. It's like 2 years old, but whatever. In the world of cameras, but
If you look into it, let me know because it seemed to be successful at the time. That ZV-1 was kind of popular. That's how we knew about it. It's not like we're on the cutting edge of camera
yeah,
technology, really, but it came across it. We both owned one at one time. I think it's a pretty nice little device. And now, based on the success of it, now that it's been years, has it gotten even better? Has it gotten
I
easier?
think it's gotten better. And there's one with like an interchangeable lens and stuff. The
Ooh,
Sony ZV-E10, I think is what it is. But it's like a $700 camera with lenses, the plus lenses. And then there's like the FX3. There's like a $3,000 camera, and the FX 300 or something is like the $1,200
right.
camera or something. Anyway,
They still
I'm
kind of pretend to be more than webcams, though. They're like, its primary job is to be a point and shoot, and then it just also happens to be a good streaming camera. And then there's another category, like, for example, the Elgato ones that are like, it's not pretending to be anything other than
see,
a
and I
webcam.
kind of like that. I kind of admire that and would want that.
Which one? Which one do you prefer?
The like I'm just a webcam because
Well,
that's
right.
all I need. I need a computer camera for my podcast and my calls.
Yeah,
Right? So I don't
right.
need a $3,000 camera that can like film a movie in 4K. I'm not doing that. Like I know that that's kind of the setup you have, but like and that's
Well, only by accident, kind of. But
well, and that's the recommendation. That's where my other
yeah.
next point is. Like, you watch these gear tubes. We're calling them gear tubes. We're a gear tube show. It's these dudes who like have a photography background. Like they're paid wedding photographers and crap. And they're like, oh, you got to have this, like soft light diffuser. It's 17 grand and it hangs on a big metallic tripod. You know, it's
Yeah.
from it's
There's
from
some
the
irony with
theater
them,
that
though.
Hamilton plays in. You know, it's like it's this big light, you know, with like a, you know, and it's like 500 watts and like sounds like
Sure.
that, you know. I don't need that. I need like I need my face to look the color of my skin or enhance the color of my skin, not just be grayed out. I guess I have gray skin, and that's the problem. But I'm starting.
You know, I always want to see those the people who have channels that I like and know what they do, rather than a gear tuber. Because you know, it's a little too meta. It's like I could almost see why somebody wouldn't like this show, even though we're obviously professional web developers. So hopefully it's less so. But it's like I want to hear from people who make great websites, not necessarily somebody who talks about making websites.
Well, and that's what's getting into my head. It's like, if I do the 3 light system, like the key light or the key light, the fill light, and the backlight, that's kind of the recommendation, you know, and you have, it looks like at least 2 of them, right? The key light, the fill light, and the backlight. And then if I do that and bounce it off my walls, just because I have a big white wall here, and then I get the teleprompter sort of thing, and so I'm talking into a teleprompter, I'm looking at the camera, we're having a conversation, we are
can happen.
one-on-one.
Boom,
like,
boom.
Does that solve it? Are we done? Like, can I be done? That would be cool, you know? And maybe
I think so.
That's where I'd like to help.
Tricky, you know, like I don't know. I had one for a minute and I was like, it's just too much on my desk all the time, and setting it up kind of sucked, and you need like a dedicated iPad for it. And I don't know. I didn't love it. I would say that like I would be all over it if I was like, for example, at some point in my career, I was going into a 2-month phase where I had to just have meetings back to back constantly, or like interviewing. I had to hire 25 people. Oh, hell yeah, I'd set up a teleprompter so I can be looking at you straight in the eyes and stuff. I might even do it the other way around. If I was interviewing and I wanted to come across really good, I'd be like tempted to do that too.
Yeah. Because I imagine this look here where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I like your company. I'm sure that looks.
Didn't we talk to somebody who had like interviewed somebody in a Lazy Boy once? It's just like that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you know, I there's just something like you don't need to wear a suit and tie, but that level of attention to an interview is an instant no from me. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, Elgato kind of disrupted themselves, it looks like, because they have a dedicated camera called the Facecam Pro, which is $300, but it's, you know, 4K and really nice. I liked it. I used it for a long time before this. It was the one that I actually thought did a good job, but now they have a $200 one called the Facecam 4K, which I've heard is like better.
I hear it's good, and it has like little lens filters too. So I have glasses, and I catch a reflection, and it's going to go like bloop bloop, and it'll like
get rid of that
reflection. Yeah, polarize it.
Amazing.
So, yeah,
I mean, I think it's cool when a company's like, here's a product that's both cheaper and better than our own one.
Mm-hmm. So I don't, you know, camera. I think is like I would have to.
It's not going to beat your ZV-1 though. No way.
I feel like it's really good. It's still, you know, but I do like the idea of like, I would rather have a camera for like going out and taking photos or whatever. And then I'd like a camera for, you know, just being on calls. And the ZV-1 is hitting that need, but I'm also like, man, what, you know,
maybe
could it be simpler? 1 cord, 1 cable. I have 2 cables right now. Could it be 1?
I know, dude. Believe me, that's why I killed mine. And now I'm back to 2 cables, but the results are pretty glorious, so I'm pretty cool at the moment.
No, it's cool.
I'm heading into a phase of having to do a bunch of video production stuff, so it's got to happen.
Well, we joked about the like Dave Rupert's YouTube coach or whatever. Like, I think like, you know, I've been actually like trying to learn the craft or whatever. Like, what is the, not that I'm like, it's just been like a rabbit trail I'm going down, you know, like what is the like, again, what's the like bang for your buck, you know, like what
well, you linked up a video yesterday about the thumbnail thing, which is just an ever fascinating thing about it. It was a very well done video. Should we credit the author here? I forgot who she was, but I just had never seen her before, so it didn't stick in my brain. But she did an excellent job on this video.
Yeah, it's April Alter, and she's kind of exploded as like a how-to YouTuber. Like she like
right, but
she understands
does the
medium.
research for real.
She does the research, understands the medium. She has a whole one on like how like to edit your videos, like do a bunch of cuts, like make the first minute or like the first 30 seconds great. Like people, you can look at your YouTube graph and it's like people peel in the first 30 seconds. So make the first 30 seconds great. Yeah. How do you do that? You know,
probably the number one takeaway I got from the thumbnail video is that there's a thing that let this stick in your brain, the curiosity gap. So the most important thing about the thumbnail is that it needs to pique your curiosity, and all these different things that people do, that's always there. There's lots of different variations of thumbnails. There's lots of different techniques, but literally all of them, it hits your like curiosity lever a little bit in a way. So it's not just like, oh, use a face in there. It's like sometimes you can use a face, sure, or sometimes that because you're having some emotion on your face, maybe that's the thing that makes people curious, so they click. But the curiosity gap is always there. Very fascinating stuff. And that you can't just win by thumbnail. It's important to have a thumbnail, but if you can't think of something that would trigger somebody's curiosity about this video, it's because your video sucks, you know? That's the deal, tough. You know, which is the majority of all videos, including my own. They're not all absolutely fascinating, destined for virality. They're just not. A lot of times videos intended audience is somebody who like is already interested in this little, for example, piece of technology, and they need to know a little bit more about it, or they just get a kick out of that niche thing, and their curiosity is piqued just because it's, you know, it's already there. So I'm not trying to capture, you know, every user of YouTube necessarily, that kind of thing. But I think that's interesting. I'm going to think about that forever. Like how can I pique somebody's curiosity with just a thumbnail?
Well, and then there's like, you got to follow through on that curiosity. You can't have like a cool thumbnail and just
have a boring video
behind
there
it.
You go.
You know,
right.
You got to, she even does like, you know, the same thumbnail, the same image in the thumbnail is like Mark Rober's first shot, you know, like the egg drop from space. It's like the egg. And then the first shot in the video is the egg drop from space. So very continuous or congruous.
You don't feel lied to.
Yeah, you feel like, oh yeah, that's the video I clicked on, you know, and it's like this art and medium I'm trying to understand. I don't think it's like something I'm necessarily like, hey, I'm going to pursue hardcore, but you know, it's like we have this podcast, right? We do this. We've been doing this for years, Chris, longer than the most of the manosphere. We like. You know, I feel like, you know, is there a quality bump we could do? And does that like then up viewership? And does that then up sponsorship? And then is that something, you know, so like, is that something like if I, again, put in $200, do we get like 2 sponsors? And now like, hey, I've made that all back or whatever, you know, like that's it's curious to me. It's a curious art form to me. So.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about. You know, we talked about bang for the buck. You better know what that bang is, because I mean, I guess it could just be like a feeling of higher quality, but it'd probably be better if you had your own little metric you were trying to hit, you know?
Yeah, I think right now for me, it's just like, I want the video to reflect what I see like through my eyes, and I don't feel like I see that. Like, and right now I do see like a whole bunch of clutter next to me, and that's like, oh yeah, I guess that's my life. But you know, it's like, what is the, you know, like, but again, like if I blurred that a bit, if the focus point was right, you know, could that be fixed? Is that something, you know? So
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Your $200 Yamaha. I can't talk about it yet because I didn't read it yet, but that's exactly probably what you're thinking of.
I can spoil the post for you if you're curious, or you can read it while I talk. But like, so we went on vacation. and we show up, and my uh, cousins are all playing with the kids, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they tell us like, hey, by the way, we're doing no devices this week, and we're like going to the beach the next day, like for a week, and we're like, oh, that's interesting because my son will die, not, not literally, but like,
Yeah.
he doesn't love like surprises like this, and that's fair. But then we weren't prepared mentally or like stuff wise for a week of no devices and all downtime must be improv. We weren't prepared for that, so we went out. My wife and I snuck out, and we bought a 3/4 travel size Yamaha guitar.
No way. Well, you're there?
Well, we're there. We
Dude, I've done this. I did the same thing in Mexico.
We bought
one
a
time.
guitar.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you did. Okay.
It shreds. It's so good. It's just a little acoustic, and it just sounds beautiful. It plays nice. Like, and then Otis is like learning songs, like, all the riffs. He's playing Come As You Are. He's playing the
nice.
Weedo from Weezer. He's like, he's learning songs. He's just playing. Like, it's great. Like, he was off devices all week, watched a whole bunch of like hotel
you pulled it
TV
off?
trash. Yeah.
The whole week? Dang.
Well, eventually the cousins left early, and then they binged pretty hard. But like, they binged like addicts, brother. No, but it just like sort of reminded me. It's just I feel like every guitarist I talk to has a story about the $200 Yamaha, right? Like, and I like. Do you have one? Do you know the $200 Yamaha? Just.
I don't know about the exact guitar, but I remember a trip we took to Cabo one time, and Ruby was too young to get it, so it was really for me. But I didn't want to bring a guitar. I just don't even like the idea of bringing it on a plane, not because it's going to break or whatever, because I've actually had really good luck with moving instruments on planes. It's just been fine for me. I know it is risky and dangerous, but I just didn't even want the cumbersomeness of it. So, we were just down there getting like sushi. We were like in town, wherever we were. I can't even remember exactly. And there's just a little music shop I saw on the map. And I went over there and I just grabbed one. It probably wasn't even $200. It's just a little shredder. And we had fun. I played at dinner that night while we were waiting for our appetizers and stuff. And then, we were leaving as the maid was coming on the last day. And I just handed to her. I'm like, a kid that would want this? And she's like, sure. And I was like, okay, bye. So it wasn't even just a $200. It was probably $100 like vacation funsies.
Vacation funsies.
Yeah, we probably spent $300 on sushi that night. So how's that? It was like one nice sushi dish.
Yeah, anyway, the like, yeah, that's exactly it. I think even one time you came into town and convinced me to buy a $300 clawhammer banjo. Like,
hell yeah,
you convinced me to buy the cheap banjo, the gold tone, like just whatever vanilla flavored banjo, and it was great. I loved it.
And the Deering Good Time, is that what you have?
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah,
or is it a gold tone? Either pretty similar.
I think it's the gold tone. Yeah, but anyway, it's shredded, dude. It's great. And like, but anyway, so my story about I talk about the $200 Yamaha. Like, dude, there's like, you can of course buy a fancy guitar. Like, you can spend thousands of dollars on a guitar, but like everyone who's like played this specific, like,
it's like the one. There is the
like the one, but there's like also like they have a $200 classical. They have the $200 like open body or sorry, like acoustic. They have a $200 bass. They have a $200 3/4 travel guitar. Often it's under $200. But like the quality per dollar is just so high, and that's kind of maybe the whole thing with this show too. The Gear Talk is like the quality per dollar is so high, and it's like
risk is so low. I think that's amazing. I actually have an extension to your story. It almost makes me feel like I should blog back at you just so we can get that kind of going. But it was a blog post from 5 years ago. I'm just going to send it just to you because I think for now but the $200 Yamaha makes an appearance even in the first graphic of this particular blog post. It was, I have a $5,000 guitar. It's the nicest instrument I have still to this day. I bought it under weird circumstances from a guy who really needed the money at the time to do something really nice for his wife, and I stretched and bought it thinking it'd be my lifetime guitar. It is my lifetime guitar. I think it's great. Maybe someday if I get really rich, I'll buy one just to, I don't know, be weird. But like, this guitar is excellent. It's beautiful straight Brazilian rosewood top. You know, it's great. At one time, and for like years later, I open a case and play it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to, I don't know. I had a weird spidey sense that it might be the wrong guitar, or that the guy that I bought it from was asking about it, and I sent him a picture and thinking like, hey, did this guy use like a Yamaha head when he custom built this guitar? Because it's still a beautiful guitar. I thought it was my $5,000 guitar, and he laughs at me like, ha, what are you talking about? No, he didn't use a Yamaha head. And I was like, oh my God, this guitar that I've now had for years somehow is not my $5,000 guitar. It's a $200 Yamaha. Yeah. It's just the missing guitar. Like, what happened? And I was like, man, I've been to festivals since then. I've been in and out. And I'm also like not the most, it's kind of a weakness of mine. I'm not the most like careful dude, you know, like sometimes I just don't care. I just pick and choose what I really care about. And sometimes like my behavior at a festival is just like, I don't know, throw it in the case. Let's go. Like, I'm not like scrutinizing everything or polishing the dust off my car. I just don't care. So I get thinking about like, where is my $5,000 guitar? What happened? Was it stolen? Did somebody do a switcheroo on me? Am I just so dumb that I did the switcheroo? What the hell happened? The way I got it back was, I used Google Photos and I typed in the word guitar. And I don't even really use Google Photos, but I had set it up one time on my phone such that every photo I take, like it goes to my Apple library, it goes to my Google library too. So it was a faithful reproduction of every photo I've ever taken. And at the time, it's like search. Like, I didn't tag my photos guitar at the time, even a couple of years ago, even 5 years ago, had really good, it showed me every damn picture with a guitar in it. And I was able to find a photo where I definitely had the $5,000 guitar to the next photo where I had the Yamaha, and I didn't know it. Because I'm that dumb. And the point of the story is telling you that Yamaha is so good that it's almost, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a $5,000 guitar. Crazy. Yes. I find the two dates, and at the time I was living in Miami, and I find my neighbor, who's also a friend. We had been jamming outside one night, and we just did the switcheroo, and I was like, could you please go into that case? Because she probably doesn't play guitar that much anymore. Look in the case, and does it look like this guitar? And she's like, yeah, it looks exactly like that. We just accidentally switched for 2 years. I played
that's evidence, dude. That blows my mind. That is evidence that the $200 Yamaha fucking rules. It's just so good.
I know. I'm sure real guitar snobs maybe would have something to say about that, but yeah. But look at the last paragraph of it. It doesn't say 200, but this is 5 years ago, and there's been a little price change. I said, honestly, that little $150 Yamaha sounds pretty damn good if you ask me. Look at that. My 5 years ago self is agreeing with your blog post from today.
Yeah,
that rules.
Dude, that's awesome. That like, it is just, it's an amazing guitar. It's a really, I guess, mass-produced piece of Japanese engineering or whatever you want to say. Like, but it just is like the sound per like quality. The quality is way over what it should be for that price of a guitar, you know, and like, you know, for $150, the strings should like never tune. The like, you know, like it just should be that bad, you know, but I don't know, but you have this $150 guitar.
You can find a bad one for that price, but not the Yamaha, baby. That one's beautiful. Well, and
that's, you know, like I had like a $2,000 Martin. That's a whole other story for us if we want to get into that. And, but like it, but like the Martin, you know, it's like I had to keep it in a case to keep it the right humidity and make sure it, you know, didn't breathe air. And then I had to like, you know, baby it and like make sure no one hits it, or every scratch it got, it was like, that hurts my heart, you know. Like the $200 Yamaha, man, like if I trip over it or kick it down the hall by accident, or like a kid fills it with sand, whatever, dude. It's just the $200. It rules. Anyway.
I love it.
That's where I'm going with. That's what I want. I want the $200 Yamaha for everything. That's like my new life mission. What's the little one that out?
Yeah, we could probably make a list of those
quality
of those things. Whatever, like the iPhone SE and I don't know. There's probably things in that category that are cheap and amazing. I love that. I'll let my brain stew on that for a while.
I think there's a software metaphor in here too. So bring it back to computers, web design.
Yeah, it's like the code pen. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
it's cheap and great.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Code pens, I use a lot. I come back to regularly. Stack blitzes, code sandboxes.
Yeah.
Ugh, brother, I don't know where those are anymore. Those disappeared. Those are gone. Like
things can break.
Code pens, I know where those are at.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's going really good. Our private beta is going great. I was using it yesterday to work on to kind of finalize my own experimentation and thinking about the whole CSS module scripts one. And I bring it up because you popped into the stream, which was nice. But yeah, last time I played with it, I just didn't get as far. There was some bug in our editor at the time or something that derailed me, but it was working great now. So the idea is that I think some people know for a long time they were referred to as import type assertions. And I think the web has gotten away from that. They're called type imports now or something. I forget, but everybody knows what an ESM import, right? Is import view from view. That's just an ESM import that the world has come around on. That's what we use now pretty much in JavaScript. But now you can type import data from dot/data.json with type equals JSON, and it's going to come in as an object of JSON. You no longer have to fetch that piece of JSON and JSON parse it. The web is coming around and it's just saying, you want to import that thing as JSON, go ahead. That's nice. I don't know what the exact browser support of JSON. I still think of it as type assertion, but whatever. It's pretty decent.
I think it's called import attributes now. Like
import attributes.
These attributes, but I think the with is good. It's in Node. It's in Chrome. It's in I think all the other browsers. To my knowledge,
the support is going to be different on which thing is supported, though, right? And there's only two now. JSON has probably better support, but there's another one is CSS. So it used to be for a long time, if you typed import styles from ./styles.css, that is not real. It was like a Webpack-ism. It was like Webpack kind of knows what to do with that, or Vite knows what to do with that. But it's just because that thing just decided what the behavior was going to be. In Vite, it's like, oh, I see what you mean. I'm just going to figure out which HTML file you probably mean and put a link tag to it in the header. That's weird behavior to me, but people liked it, and it does kind of make sense in a certain kind of way. So fine. But it's not normal behavior. It's certainly not browser behavior. But now there's a type attribute for CSS, and you can just import a style sheet like you can in other ESM stuff. But what do you get? You get what's called a constructed style sheet when you do that. And it's like, okay, what do I do with that? It's not just like a string of CSS. It's like the browser has turned it into this thing called a constructed style sheet. And there's APIs such that I could just jack it onto the page too. It does not do that automatically, though. You can, I forget what all the APIs are necessary to use, but you can attach it to the other style sheets that are used on the page. But more likely, I think what you're trying to do with it is attach it to a shadow root. It's to me, it's been perfectly designed for the styling of web components. And thus it was a little bit of catnippy for Dave, you would.
It's like a bat signal, man. It's like,
yeah.
Whoa, we're talking about
for all the crap talking I've done about I don't like the APIs for styling web components, but it's just a visceral thing that I need to get over. I don't have them at all with this. I like this. This is nice. It says you can say import this style sheet and then attach it to the shadow root, and there you go. Now you have what I consider a very nice architecture for building digital software, which is a folder that has a component in it, and there's one file that has the component like markup in it, and there's another file that has the component CSS in it, and they live right next to each other. I just really like that architecture. And now you can just do it with CSS module scripts, only in Chromium so far. So part of the reason I was talking about is like, I want to use it more because it looks like I like it. Turns out I do like it, then blog about it more just to push the wheelbarrow a little further or whatever. Like, can we get this everywhere? Because it really is nice. And you said, it was your last parting comment before you had to go, was they are necessary. So that's why I brought it up now. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, are you just also think it's just awfully damn important that we get these things?
Yeah, like I think they are, you know, we have import with type JSON, super useful, right? Like you're just importing JSON. With type CSS would mean we can import CSS. And this isn't something that just benefits web components. This benefits React components. This benefits any component where you just want to chuck a style sheet into something and then adopt it at that node level, right? Or you want to adopt it into the document, like button styles, adopt into the document. And if it's like, oh, I already adopted that, it doesn't adopt it twice. Does that like... You think of like the way
I guess I didn't know that. Can we cover that one more time so I fully get it? Is it like if I import that style sheet twice, it'll only come off the network once or something?
Yeah. So like if it's gonna like dedupe the request or the dependency
that's huge.
graph.
I didn't even know that. That's great. But I guess it would do that with ESM too, right?
Obviously. Yeah. It would just know it came from cache or whatever pull the one from cache, and then it would be like, cool. I think it'll replace it potentially over and over and over. Maybe not though. I think it just is like, okay, I already have that style sheet, or that sheet is already in here. And so, you know, the way you may not know, but if you ever opened up a storybook before, the way CSS and JS currently works is it chucks in a bunch of style tags, like beep, 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 and it has robobarf, and then it does blah, blah, blah. Like, that is the robobarf is for scoping, so like that's a whole other issue. But like the part of the reason it's injecting all these things is because like it's sort of expensive to build a whole style sheet and then just like try to delete it all and replace it all. That's like an expensive operation. But like with these adopted style sheets, you basically are just saying, hey, document or shadow root, whichever root you want to put it in, just adopt this style sheet, like make it a style sheet you have access to. And so it's awesome. I don't know. And then it doesn't like, it's not like you just injected a whole style brick into your HTML, and it's not like you are having a bunch of style tags in your components and things like that. It just really slims down the DOM and deduplicates like kind of DOM template weight basically. So that's good, in DOM node weight. But so that's good. But like if we extrapolate a little further, other things bundlers do is import with type SVG. That's kind of cool, you know?
Is that web standard?
That's not, but like I would find that really helpful right now, just because I made a component with like that imports this SVG, but I basically had to like write a node script to like be like export const SVG equals, you know, this big template literal, you know?
Yeah, dude, I hate putting I was just looking at a little freaking, I mean, look at it. I guess I'll share my screen because we never do that, you know, but it's barely an example, but I think it's just so classic. Oh, how do I in Riverside? Oh, I'm such an idiot. Am I not? Oh, there we go. Screen.
You're perfect just the way you are.
See my little card component? I'm obsessed. I'm always obsessed with card because card is like, it's very useful. Every design system has or should have one, you know, it's just whatever. It's just highly relatable to me. Okay. Header, content, icon, right? How's the icon? Oh, look, I collapsed it here because I can't even look at it. It muddies up your markup so bad. To me, this is hard to visually parse because my brain just looks at robobarf. I don't want to see that there. I want to get this SVG out of here and have it just say like just link to it. And of course I can do that. I can do it as an IMG tag if I want. But as we know in front end web development, you lose a lot of the styling control of that SVG the second you make it an image. And it's not in line. It's another network request. I mean, there's a lot of like trade-offs and stuff. It's not a big deal. This is a single color icon. Maybe every icon in your entire app is single color and you just want to use them as IMGs. That's fine. But I just think generally, if you're choosing one or the other, you're probably injecting it as SVG, so you have the most like animation control, styling
current
control.
Color at a minimum, light, dark.
At a minimum, right?
Yeah.
Even with IMG, there's other ways to do it. You can make it a mask on a div, and then you have single color control because the color underneath it comes through the mask or whatever.
Sure.
There's ways to do it, but I think that's what you're talking about a little bit. Like, I hate seeing that. I don't want to see it in JavaScript either. I don't want to see a template literal of it I don't want to pass a whole SVG string as a prop either. I want it to be an SVG file that's just sitting there. And sure, if the bundler wants to help me inject it this way, that's fine. But anyway, I didn't mean to hijack that. I just think SVG is a good example of like, it looks messy when you have to look at it when you have to pass it around as a prop or see it in the HTML. Like, I almost just don't want to see it. It should be a separate file. That's why I like my CSS as a separate file too.
Yeah, it would be cool. And it would also be cool to import HTML, right? Like, you know, if you're writing HTML and you're trying to import HTML, we all know we can't do that. Although we solved it on a previous Shop Talk show with Jake Archibald. Link in the show notes.
Everybody go listen to that.
Click this thumbnail that's floating above my head. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Good luck, Chris. But if you're in your JavaScript, again, React, JSX or whatever, and you're like, I just want to import a bunch of HTML, dude. Like, you know, import whatever header.html, like with type equals HTML. Like, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't we like that? Wouldn't that be helpful? Like, and we start to get to like a single file component in JavaScript, you know, and like then but it also kind of secretly starts making like all these HTML parts. We have the underpinnings to make different parts of HTML portable, you know. I mean,
right.
I know Edge has a few proposals out there to make like CSS imports, like importing CSS partials and doing kind of partial you know, like shadow root adopted style sheets equals ABC, you know, like that would be cool. Like
right.
Let's push on that. We could use some innovation in the component space that just like rips out tiers of JavaScript and whole categories of bundlers. Like, it would just be great. Like,
here's a prediction for you that like 3 years from now, let's say, like what has happened. And you know, sometimes like huge, amazing things happen and sometimes more subtle things happen. This is a little bit more subtle, is that I don't think the world will be the web will be so incredibly different in 3 years. It'll be unrecognizable. But I think one thing that will happen is there'll be this slow shift towards people just caring about bundling much less than they do now. You know, you can kind of see, you know how Vite works. I think this might be lost on some people, but original, no, yeah, absolutely not. But there's two main, like, apologize if I seem ignorant here. This is old Vite or something, but I seem to remember when Vite came out, there's basically two modes you use it in. And one of the reasons that Vite, the dev server, is so fast is because it doesn't bundle. It just leans on the ESM import tree and it just replaces little pieces of that tree when it needs to with hot module reloading and all this. It doesn't bundle. It doesn't need to. Your local server is like faster to update and get built right away and stuff when it doesn't need to do that. But the wisdom at the time was that when we ship to production, though, we need to bundle. That's why Vite had rollup in it. And it is being replaced now with roll down or something. I think the Vite Enterprises has made their own little rollup replacement that is thing. So they still deem it as necessary for now. Is when you're headed to production, it uses some kind of bundling thing. But clearly Vite has the bones to not do that. In fact, it doesn't do that when you run its dev server. That's one of the reasons it's fast and desirable and cool and modern. I think it's possible that, sure, we need the little roll-up-y thing now for production, but there's always been a little bit of questioning. There's always been a little bit of wondering. Do I really need to bundle? Does it matter if I load 10 JavaScript files or one? For a long time in history, yes, it did matter if you loaded 10 or one. Then HTTP 2 came along, and it almost started to not matter anymore. People are like, and then it turned out, yes, there was enough of a performance impact that basically loading 10 files was still a little bit slower than one, but it was just a little bit, you know, and it wasn't that bad. And it had some advantages that, like, I could just break the cache on one or two of them, not the entire thing. Right now, when we ship a new app, we break the cache on all of our JavaScript, and the browser downloads all of our JavaScript again. I think the tables will turn in as soon as 3 months or so, where we really stop caring about being so aggressive about bundling. That when you say, well, we need innovation in components, the innovation in components will partially be from the browser can just load a CSS file that's just for that component over the damn network, and it's really not a big performance problem. It can load the JavaScript for it if it needs it on demand. It doesn't need to be pre-bundled into some big thing. There'll just be this moving away from any need to bundle at all. And partially that's because browsers have gotten better, and HTTP2 is now HTTP3, which is, you know, the network has improved as well, that there's like an open connection to the servers that we're dealing with, and that open connection just serves stuff really quickly and efficiently when is necessary. That will be this little like under the surface innovation and how this all works.
I agree. I think, you know, Jim Nielsen, good blogger, been on the show before. Click this link in the thumbnail to find out. He had a good post, a little piece of satire, how to make websites that will require lots of your time and energy. And it was just three recommendations. Install stuff indiscriminately from NPM. Pick a framework before you know you need one. And always require a compilation step. So it was pretty good. That was a nice little post, because he's basically... Yeah. It's funny. There's, you see it on Twitter from time to time. Somebody's like, I rewrote my site in Astro, and my life is so much better. I saw this one from a company. It was like, we rewrote in Astro, and it's wonderful. Like, way less going on. And then occasionally people will even be like, I rewrote my site without a bundler. Like, no bundle process. Everything's just going live to main. And it's great, you know, like I feel free, you know, and I think people underestimate that feeling, like that it's so freeing, you know. You might take a performance hit from extra imports or whatever because you didn't bundle, but like, man, I didn't have to worry about that. That thing's not going to break on me. Like, you know, if link or script source fails, that's a huger problem. Like, that's a much bigger problem. But if, like, you know, your Webpack 9000 breaks, that's a big problem. I had a bundler break on me, or like a deployment script break on me last week. You know, I tried to like deploy my homepage on my tie-dyed homepage, and they like a Netlify plugin that Phil Hawksworth wrote, like decided it needed a new version of Node, but I didn't control the Node server because I'm gonna have a Ruby server for a blog. So it was just like, I had to like specify a Node version in my package, or in my, my secrets, my env secrets to fix it. And that's just silly. So now I have that little piece of technical debt for the rest of my life, just because I want to consume an RSS feed, you know, just like when now import RSS.xml with type XML, that would be cool.
Oh, you know? What? Really? We're going to have
I don't know.
Oh man, that would be sweet.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So I don't know.
What would it convert XML to a big object?
JSON blob. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Really?
With like probably items and children. I don't know. I'm just riffing.
Spec it out. Yeah. I like that.
I think this sort of thing, these includes or God willing, and include element of some kind. I think those are the $200 Yamahas of web development. I think if we had that, we could, it would be so great. It would be so cheap to like build a complex site because the platform does it, you know?
Yeah.
One day.
Oh, that sounds so delicious. That'd
One
be
day,
nice.
people understand me, or I'm gonna be like, what's his name? The guy who built that the aviator. What was the where Leonardo DiCaprio's character loses his mind? Hugh Hefner. Or
Oh yeah,
something?
Pete in the jars and
No,
all
not
that
Hugh
stuff.
Hefner. Hugh Hefner's Playboy. Hugh
Grant.
guy.
No, I know what you
Grant.
mean. He was
Huge guy.
yeah, this
So anyway,
hangers. What was that guy's name? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
the
Uh,
golden goose. No, the flying goose. Anyway, I'm nailing this. This is great
Yeah.
content. Yeah.
just tweet it. They'll or whatever. They'll
Yeah.
or
I
post
love.
it.
No, I'll post the wrong answer. I love
Yeah,
Leonardo
exactly.
DiCaprio and his starring role as Hugh Hefner
Yeah.
in The Flying Guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like.
Yeah, you'll find out real quick. That's great. That was a segue into, I don't know if we have time to talk about it, but I enjoyed reading your social media ethos post too. It was kind of nice to have I don't know, have a new plan or be a little more considerate about what you do on there. I don't even know. I feel like a little checked out of it in a way that didn't even plan to necessarily, but it's almost like I don't have time for it anymore, but you better make time for it because otherwise it feels like you disappear off the face of the earth, and that's not good either. So I'm just not sure how to engage with it. It was interesting to see your ideas with it. The only one I didn't like is the where you start the day with a goof and you don't want to do that anymore. I'm like, oh no, Dave,
Got a goof.
goof it.
I
I just don't know what you meant by it. It's like,
Yeah. So it on that one specifically, like it's just sort of like I found myself getting into like I'd wake up and the first thing I'd think about was like I gotta like make do a funny, you know, and like gotta start the day off with the clown show, you know, like I just
okay, yeah.
I just was like, and
How
that's
that
very
felt.
much like me. Like my form of extroversion is like, let's do a goof, let's get the room started, let's hop it, let's get it started. You know, I like to be witty. You know, like and humor and puns is a way to do that. I think I just found it. It was just like, dude, what? Like I spend time, not an hour, maybe not hours, but it's just like I just felt like an impulsive intrusive thought to like do that every morning, and it was just kind of like, dude, I don't need to do that. It's a way, like if I have a good goof or I have something I've been stewing on for a while, like yeah, let us like send it. But like if you're just like, if I just spend all the day, like all morning, just being like, okay, ska, but farts, you know, like just like that's what my brain does, dude. It's like ska plus something else, you know. And like so I spend 30 minutes every morning just like, okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, ska plus Leonardo DiCaprio in The Flying Guy, you know, like. I see.
If it was intrusive, if you found yourself not liking that feeling, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It was just kind of like performative for, you know, and I just was like, this is a waste of time. And then you pair that with this whole other stat of like when we're distracted, like when you tweet or post, like the average normal brains will take like 23 minutes or something to come down from that because you like introduced a distraction and
I see.
You're getting likes and hearts and you're kind of like, you know, vanity checking that, you know, like, oh, do people like my thought, my tweet, my goof? Do people love my goof? And then, you know, so when do I clock into work? 9:30? Whoops. You know, like, so like, it's just, you know, that it was just kind of a negative habit for me, you know? So,
yeah.
But you know,
I get it. And you got it. So it's nice to be this thoughtful about it, I think. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
kind of need my own list where I really like your first three, which is really cool, which is like make it more about other people than about you, really, if you can. Because that is about you then, like you're getting that too, because it's the things that you're choosing to amplify. That's
mm-hmm,
still about you, but it's
mm-hmm.
just it's helping other people, which I think is great. I want to do that, but I would put like reply in there too. So repost
Okay.
share is what you're saying, but also reply is I don't do that as much as I'd like. Like I wouldn't care if that was my whole presence was looking at what other people are saying and then only replying when I have something interesting or positive to say back.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
adds to it, or that just shows that I'm here and I'm listening and I care what you have to say instead of it just being this microphone all the time, which I only do because I'm like, if I'm sometimes I just am more in that mode or something like, I worked
Mm-hmm.
on something. I'm going to tell you what it is or whatever. I don't reply
Yeah.
enough.
I think that's also, yeah. I probably need to do that more too. I try to, but then there's this like reply guy tendency I have, so I have to like curb that. Like,
Right. Right.
and
Did
not
it seem
just
like they
to,
wanted to reply?
well, yeah, but not even just to like women. It's like to dads and to like, it's like, it's just this sort of like, hey, let's goof around. I know you're being serious, but fart butt poop, like ska plus
Mm,
farts. How about that? I don't need to do that. And I get a lot of that inbound too, like kind of I call them low quality replies, but just sort of like, just like, well, I don't know. It's just like I'll tweet about or post a blog post about something, and it's like, have you thought about JavaScript? It's like, yeah, dude, the whole thing's about JavaScript. I do that for a living. But like, I just, I'm just like trying to, yeah, I should probably like put replies in here, like how I feel about replying. Yeah, I think what killed Twitter, this is maybe a good final thought. I think what killed Twitter is we all got side hustles, we all became personal brands, and we all had to just sell our shit all the time. And it's like, buy my course, buy my, download my project, buy this, and it just turned into this like everyone's selling. We're all multi-level marketers all the time, and it just, I think it got exhausting. I think it got unfun, because we're all just, and we should, in a healthy community, we should be, oh, dude, Chris launched a thing. Here's my $10, or like that would
mm.
be a healthy community. But I think it just got into this like, no one's talking. We're all just blasting. And so I think it just became kind of that, I guess, kind of capitalism sort of became boring. I'm not even trying to get anti-capitalist here, but that just sort of like form of like engagement sort of just got boring. So
Yeah. Well, but is it any different on any other platform? Maybe not,
no, I mean, I will say Mastodon is pretty cool. So that's my
I want to like it more. I'm not opposed to it. It's definitely my number two and tend to post the same stuff. I'm still kind of figuring that out, but I feel like I get like scolded more on it and it makes me like it less.
that was Andy Bell's review of it, and it was that the policing vibes are pretty heavy there, if you're out of bounds. And so I don't get that. So maybe I've tailored, or I
Maybe.
don't
I don't want to get bigger too. It feels like it's been a long time since I've been like, I just want to follow like 50 or 100 more people on both, but I don't know really where to find them. I feel like
you have just summoned
are...
5 startups, AI startups.
Yeah, I always thought my number was pretty high on Twitter. Like I think I follow like 5,000 or something, but it was never a problem to me. I liked it. And now at the moment I'm following 648 on Blue Sky, and it feels like low to me. I mean, I follow every single person that is in our Discord because we made a cool follow group, and just the classics, old friends and stuff. But I don't. It's just my own problem. It's not a problem with anything there other than me taking the time to seek out some more interesting folks.
There's interesting people out there. You just gotta find them.
Yeah.
And then there's Jerry Chen. So you gotta follow Jerry on Blue Sky.
Oh my God. Little high volume for me, Jerry.
Do you know I know Jerry personally? I could probably
Do you
get him on the
really?
show. Yeah. So
He's a professional sayer of words on social media.
for sure. He's
Yeah.
great.
Cool.
Love Jerry. But, all right, hey, we should probably wrap it up
Yeah,
here.
sounds good.
Thank you for tuning in the $200 podcast in your podcast of choice. Be sure to star heart, like it up. That's how people find out about the show. Shard it up, and then follow us on one of the good ones, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and we're on the YouTube too. Like and subscribe there. That would help us out. And then join us over in the Discord, patreon.com/shoptalkshow.
Going strong.
Going cool people in there. So thank y'all for being there and supporting the
I
show.
flipped a switch on Patreon where you could do a year too, thinking just like, I don't know. But it was like a good email from the Patreon people just saying like, hey, all you got to do is flip a switch and then you have yearly subscriptions too. It's zero work. And a number of people took us up on it. I was like, oh, damn, that worked. So thanks to the people who have done that. And that's an option if you want to now instead of getting hit up every month. And it's obviously good for us. Pay our expenses at this podcast, which is pretty much even at this point.
Editor and transcripts. There you go.
Yeah.
Riverside, who makes it easy. So.
Yeah. It's mostly editing and transcripts. All right. Well,
Chris,
I
did
guess
you have anything else you wanted to say there?
Yeah. Shop.show.com.